Hello everyone, I'm the EFC and this is Blue Lions TV, and today I'm bringing you guys the match review of our 0-0 draw with Arsenal last night. And I don't think that a disappointing draw is an understatement in this game. It's the third time this season that we've drawn with Arsenal, and as I keep stating to you guys, it seems that Wenger knows how to play against Conte's tactics. And as I've stressed in actually previous videos beforehand, the reason why Arsenal have so much joy against us is that Arsenal are a team that really likes to use the flanks when they attack. Their attacking transitions down the flanks really help Arsenal in terms of their build-up play. And there's another thing as well that really helps Arsenal against us for the battle of the flanks, and that's the fact that it's their pressing off the ball. Now, anytime Arsenal play against us, it's how they press off the ball. Now, they use a very high line, and there's probably a 25-yard gap between attack, midfield and defense. Everything is pretty compact. They keep ball possession compact in the middle because they then hope to have their wing backs make those overlapping runs that's going to stretch Chelsea. And normally that's why, for example, we've seen Marcos Alonso normally get beaten for pace by Bellerin so many times. And there's one more thing as well for why Arsenal are so effective when it comes to their pressing against us, and that's how they press aggressively down either flank. For example, last night, the amount of times Arsenal would shift as a team. When Chelsea had the ball on the left hand side, Arsenal will shift the whole team, keeping that same distance between them in terms of the press to the left. And if you have the ball on the right, we do the same thing as well. Now, the beauty of Arsenal doing this was the fact that it forced us to play direct balls, because again, the wing backs didn't really have any passing options because there weren't many men around them. And basically, Arsenal did this to force us to play direct balls to Hazard or Morata because they were getting outmarked by Arsenal defensively. And I keep stressing this in regards to Conte time and time again. We use a wing-back system, but too often it seems our wing-backs can get forced back too easily. Now, I don't think it comes down 100% to the ability of the wing-backs. I think it's a system. And when I say system, I'm talking about in terms of our attacking build-up. And I really think that's a really understated thing that I keep stressing about a lot of times, that people don't really understand or really think too deeply about it. And by attacking build-up, I mean it's how we actually try to break teams down and how we like to build our attacks. Now, there's only two things that we continuously do. Play those direct balls to the front two guys, who then in turn, when they keep it, the wing backs then support them, and then what they're supposed to do is try to create those overloads. Obviously, we then become like a 4 or even 5 up front at times. And plan B is to use Azpilicueta's late runs into midfield, where he's unmarked, and this is why he's able to have the freedom and time to play passes to Morata. And our second form of attack is to use Azpilicueta. So how we do use this is by Azpi making those late runs into midfield where he's normally unmarked because teams aren't going to be pressing them during those areas of the pitch. And then he likes to farm Morata's early runs, and this is why they've had so much joy and success. But that's it. There's only two forms, but that's the frustrating thing. There's only two ways that we normally break down teams, and this is why we've struggled, especially this season. Now, before the season started, I did say at the end of last season that I was really hoping that we'd sign maybe a few upgrade players that would really help us when it comes to breaking down these defensive teams, because I did stress that we'd be facing this a lot more for this season. Obviously, after seeing what kind of business we conducted in the transfer window, I wasn't too surprised by the way we'd be playing now, because we were seeing signs of this from the second half of last season. But it's this predictability that's making it very easy for teams now to play against us, and this has been a really frustrating thing. Mourinho had the same thing during that 15-16 season where we were very easy to play and defend against. And with Conte's system as well, because our movement of the ball when we try to break down teams is so predictable, teams really know what to do, where to position themselves and how to press us to really limit what we can do. Now, of course, we've got a lot of world-class players in this team, so due to their natural ability, there are going to be opportunities where chances are going to be created. And remember too, Arsenal's team wasn't the strongest as well. Their defence they used last night really isn't the defence they'd ever use really throughout the season, and their midfield as well. And let's not forget, Ozil and Sanchez weren't starting in this game either. Now, I'm stressing this because this is where I think the disappointment comes into play. Now, there's been one major criticism I have of Antonio Conte, and I've been saying this forever. When it comes to setting up a team from the start of a game on how to face an opponent, Conte is great at that. The Atletico Madrid game was an example of that. They didn't know how to play against us. We really dominated. It's one of the best performances in the past 10 years at Chelsea. But there's one major weakness that Antonio Conte has as a manager, and that's his game management. Now, maybe it could be an Italian thing. I'm not quite too sure, but sometimes I get the impression where it's like, you know, the Italian mentality is, well, I've set up the team. I've given the team exact instructions on what they need to do. if they're not fulfilling the roles I've given them, it's not necessarily my fault. And I think that maybe it just doesn't work maybe in the Premier League, and I don't like that he's not taking full responsibility. And maybe this could be the reason, because we never really see Conte ever making any brave decisions during games to really change the course of things or really help us get the ascendancy in a game. Now for my Predict That 11 video for last night's game, I got the entire lineup exactly right. I haven't done that too often this season, and I did stress at the start of that video that I did want us to use a 3-4-3 because we were going to need that. And my reason for wanting a 3-4-3 was to have more attacking support given to Hazard and Morata. Now there were a few examples last night, especially during the first half in regards to Danny Drinkwater. Now I'm not going to be too critical of Drinkwater, and I'm going to stress this point as well. The reason why we didn't get a favourable result or win the game last night wasn't because any players underperformed. It was nothing to do about players not performing. It's just that they struggled tactically because obviously our system isn't as strong, and opposition teams are really starting to find out how to play against us and limit what we do. Just another quick point as well, we have to realise this is how modern day football works, especially football at the highest level. There's a reason why teams constantly have to change their approach over 2 or 3 years to really keep things new, because at this level of football, teams can find you out after 2 games. In the Premier League, with the amount of money that clubs have, that isn't just used to strengthen their squad in terms of transfers, but that's really to, now nearly every club has this data analytics system. They have backroom staff that really scout opposition teams. 10 years ago, it really wasn't like that. The top clubs used to have that type of advantage. Now every club has that. And this is why it's so pivotal and essential that the system you use to break teams down is important. But getting back to my point of me wanting to use a 3-4-3 system, as I was saying earlier, it's for the attacking support for Hazard and Morata. And during that first half, Drinkwater was really given that more box-to-box role. And here's the thing with Danny Drinkwater. Drinkwater is a type of player that you want near your defence because he plays those counter-attacking passes and he uses his defensive positioning. Having Danny Drinkwater playing 30 yards away from the opposition's goal isn't his most effective area. When you play higher up and with your back to goal, it's more about your technical abilities, what you do off the ball, what you do with the ball, skill, control, etc. So it was no surprise why Drinkwater was going to struggle. And on top of that, he doesn't have the pace either. Now, I think the main reason why Conte has to use Bakayoko in that box-to-box role is purely because of his pace and that recovery speeds. And Drinkwater just doesn't have the pace. Now on 2 occasions in yesterday's game, there were times where Drinkwater was busting a gut to make that third man run, to obviously get on the end of counter-attacks, which he just couldn't do. And I'm thinking with Conte, what are you expecting Drinkwater to do? You expecting a miracle? Come on, of course not. And that attacking support was vital last night because, as I keep saying, Hazard and Morata were outmanned constantly. Usually the only attacking support is from the wing backs, but look how far and wide they are. The amount of times that they weren't getting that support from their midfield was annoying, but again, what was the midfield supposed to do? It's none of those players' jobs to really do that. They're not box-to-box players. An example is Jack Wilshere. Now last night Arsenal had Jack Wilshere that was able to help them beat opposition presses, and he was key, especially in the first half. The reason why Arsenal was so defensive in the second half was because they had no one to beat a press. Now for example, how many times were we trying to press Arsenal high up and they'd be playing balls through the midfield? And with Jack Wilshere's ability to play 1-2 passes, his ability to drop a shoulder and turn a man, his ability to keep the play going and flowing, he was very vital to what Arsenal were doing in the first half. So it was understandable why they defended so thoroughly in the second half. Now there were some chances to win the game. Christensen had 2 good opportunities from corners. Hazard should be doing much better in areas like that. It was so frustrating to see, this constant overplaying at times. But this is what I mean, and I keep saying this, we're not the old Chelsea team anymore where we can win games with just only a few clear-cut chances on goal. This team needs to create more chances because a lot of players aren't as confident to just hit a goal in with their first shot on goal. So in a way, I can sympathise a bit for the player because a lot of times in football it's about getting that feeling and feeling confident in a game. But still, Conte's approach to the game, it was unnecessary. I thought it was a bit too pragmatic to really keep that midfield 3 so compact with each other. Why? Even when Jack Wilshere went off, and this is what frustrated me so much in the second half especially. Wilshere's off, they have Chambers and Holding in midfield. There was no Ozil in the team, Sanchez didn't come on until the last 20 minutes either. Arsenal's attack really weren't doing much instead of just helping the midfield and helping them press to close down our wing backs. Yet there was no creative or attacking approach from Conte to really change the dynamics of the game to our favour. And I keep stressing the importance of this because this is a two-legged affair. If we had got the win in the first leg, we've always guaranteed qualifying to go to the final. And Conte didn't do anything in the system to change things to give us that advantage. This is such a massive mistake because this is the result Arsenal wanted. Imagine you didn't have any of your best players playing, your key midfielders gone off. Of course, all they could do was really defend in the second half, which they did do quite well. And their plan is we're going to take it back to the Emirates and seal the win. And we don't beat Arsenal at the Emirates under Conte anymore. And Arsenal haven't lost to us. They've lost to us once in 2 seasons. So they're feeling much more confident now. And Conte really dropped the ball when it came to this scenario. Some of his tactical decisions in the game were awful. Now, he did one interesting thing, and a lot of you guys that listen to my videos, you would have heard me make this point about how Riyad Mahrez is used at Leicester City right now in terms of how he's used in midfield. And this has really helped him because now he's not getting marked as much. He has more time on the ball. Plus, he can run at people because he isn't getting closed down as much. Now, Conte did do this with Willian last night. Does Conte watch my videos? I'm not going to get too excited. But really, the fact that Conte even thought of using Willian in midfield, to me, I don't understand why he didn't start him in this game. Because those moments earlier in the first half where Drinkwater was the guy who was supposed to get on the end of counter-attacks but doesn't have the speed. Imagine if Willian was in those 2 counter-attacking situations. We look much better. And especially Willian, he's a guy that can beat a press as well. Willian's infinitely better playing more central and on the left where he's able to cut in and skip past people. He really could have added something to the team and really could have helped Morata and Hazard more. But you might be thinking, but Nini, you're saying all this, but in the second half Conte did do that. Why didn't anything change? Well, the whole dynamics of the game were different then. As I was saying, Arsenal lost their best midfield player in Wilshere. They were forced to defend and play compact because, you know, this is a game that can take you to the final. So, of course, it's understandable why Arsenal would change the mentality during the game. Do I think we dominated the game and we forced Arsenal to play like this? Honestly, I don't really think that was the case. I think it was a conscious decision afterwards to really just keep it tight and try and play on the counter. Because Arsenal knew that if we did try to keep playing our attacking game against Chelsea, if we conceded a goal or two, then that really messes up our plans in the second leg. We'll be forced to attack and come out more, leaving even more space in behind. But for me, when it comes to games like this is where I want to see Conte actually doing something to help the team. Conte never ever makes any game-changing substitutions. And the fact that he even took off Eden Hazard to bring on Bakayoko, the fact that he was comfortable keeping the same system we started with, just replacing players like for like, I thought it wasn't good enough. It was kind of disgraceful in my opinion. And it really shows the extent of how much he believes in his pragmatic views on football. A lot of us fans are seeing finally, you know, I've been getting a lot of criticism over these past few months in regards to me being overly negative towards Antonio Conte, blah, blah, blah. But I've watched a lot of football. You know, I study the game, I see a lot of things. I could see the direction we were going down to because there was no change in the team. Now, people might think, well, if Conte got Sandro and if Conte got Tolisso, for example, yeah, it'd be much better. And to an extent, they are right. But you have to think, if Sandro came and Tolisso came, are we going to be 1 point behind Man City right now? No, we're not. And the reason is how we actually try to break down teams when we attack. It's way too predictable. And as I said in last week's match review against Norwich, when Norwich City's manager Farke was saying how comfortable and confident he felt and how disappointed he was that Norwich didn't get a win against Chelsea, a mid-table team placed 13th in the Championship, disappointed that they didn't get a result against the previous league winners, then of course there's something completely wrong then. Just quick notes to end the game. Number 1, it wasn't down to any players being individually bad last night, it was just a system thing. 2, Conte doesn't ever change the dynamics of games towards our favour. 3, Conte made negative substitutions to not really change the game in our favour again. 4, and the lineup to start the game with really didn't help the team at all because again, it leaves Hazard and Morata isolated and they have to do way too much. Now there's one thing I would like to see in this game yesterday and I really don't understand why we're not seeing this enough. Eden Hazard has to be collecting the ball out wide. Now, the only times he ever looked dangerous last night was when he was running down the ball on the left-hand side. By having Hazard out wide, you can stop your teams like Arsenal getting joy against us down the flanks. If he's collecting the ball there, that's going to give more support for Alonso to bomb forward and help us dominate there. This reliance on always keeping everything in the middle is annoying, and the only reason why Conte does that is because he wants to keep that defensive structure and balance at the back. But I'm sorry, if you've got Kante and the 3 best defenders in the league, I'm sorry, there's no excuse for that. and it's complete overkill. Now anyway, you guys, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not optimistic about our chances for the second leg away. I do see us going out. I wouldn't be surprised. Conte has a massive habit of doing nothing in knockout round football, and it's because of his pragmatic, cautious approach to games, which inhibits his teams way too much. But anyway, you guys, that's going to end today's match review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry for the delay. It was actually going to be a complete different match review because I did use footage and clips, but of course when I uploaded it to YouTube they demonetized it straight away, so I had to really change the whole thing and actually redo this video. So you know, YouTube doesn't really help out content creators, we know that. But anyway, you guys, thank you for watching. I'm the EFC. This is Blue Lines TV, signing out.